Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Tech Motoring. On today's episode we're going to be reviewing this product here. This is the ShockFlo Tesla to J1772 charging adapter, so you can charge your vehicle with a J1772 plug from a Tesla destination or mobile charger. So hit that subscribe button, stay tuned. We're going to dive deep and see what this is all about. All right, everybody, well, welcome back. So like I was saying, ShockFlo has recently reached out to me and asked me to review their new product. This is the Tesla to J1772 charging adapter for your EV. So pretty much if you have any EV on the market right now, it's going to have a J1772 plug for AC charging. Of course, this is excluding all the Teslas who have their proprietary Tesla charging. And this is actually an adapter to go from the Tesla plug to the J1772 standard. So this way, if you happen to be out either at a hotel or somewhere in public where they have Tesla destination chargers, you'll be able to use this adapter to charge up your vehicle even though it is a Tesla plug, with some caveats, and we'll go over those in just a little bit. So let's first jump in and see what we're looking at here. So this is the size of the box. Now, you'll notice that it's pretty small, which is cool because this adapter is pretty small. And I'm going to compare it to another one that I have sitting right here in front of me, so you can see the difference between other ones that are on the market and what ShockFlo has recently come out with. So this is the box that it comes in, just basically showing ShockFlo is the company, charging adapter, Tesla to J1772. A couple of the specs on the bottom here. This is compatible with all J1772 EVs, correct. Max 48 amps and 250 volts. Now the key number here is the 48 amp. This is the caveat that I was speaking of before. Now when it comes to these charging adapters, you have to be very mindful of the Tesla charger that you're plugging into this adapter. And that is because there's a lot of Tesla chargers out there, destination chargers, that could be more than 48 amps. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that that adapter, or that charging station I should say, is not more than 48 amps, because if you do have a charging station that's more than 48 amps, you're going to be overloading this adapter, and you don't want to do that. Even if your car can take a higher amperage, it doesn't necessarily mean that your adapter can take the higher amperage. So we'll discuss more about that in the future, but that's a number you want to be careful of. And I'll explain what you can do to potentially research and know what you're plugging into before you actually plug it in. Compact and easy to carry, clearly it is. And it is IP65 rated, so it can be used out in rain and other damp climates if necessary. So on this side here, it's also got the working temperature, -22 degrees Fahrenheit to 122 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a pretty good range. This says working temperature, so it might be something along the lines of, you know, if it's 100 degrees outside, this potentially could get up to 122 degrees. On the back of the box here, it shows a couple pictures of what it's compatible with. And this is another caveat that you have to keep in mind with these adapters. These are not compatible with superchargers. DC fast chargers are a different animal from AC charging. So superchargers, because they're DC fast chargers, they are not compatible with this. These J1772 standards are missing the 2 DC pins that are at the bottom of the CCS. So you can't charge from a Tesla supercharger to your vehicle using this. It just won't work. Don't even try it. Just letting you know. So the ones that it shows that it is compatible with are the high power wall connector, which is what you would typically put in your garage if you're a Tesla owner and you wanted level 2 speeds. The Tesla destination chargers, as we mentioned previously, and the Tesla mobile connector, which is usually the one that comes with a new car when you buy a new Tesla, or of course you could buy those Tesla chargers separately if you'd like, but is not compatible with the supercharger, so don't try it. Important notes. I want to read these off real quick just in case they're relevant to anybody out there. When using Tesla destination chargers, please ensure that the output current is less than 48 amps. Let's talk about that in a second. After connecting the adapter to the Tesla charge, wait 30 seconds, and then connect the other end to your EV with the J1772. So it wants you to take the destination charger, plug it into this adapter, then it wants you to wait 30 seconds and then plug it into the vehicle. And we're gonna try it both ways to see if it works, but I am very curious because the other adapter I had previously, which I'll show in a minute, also had that same restriction, but yet I tested it and it worked fine even after just a couple seconds. Before use, please make sure that the output port of Tesla charging pile is closely connected with the charging adapter. Okay, I'm not really sure what that means. The output port of the Tesla charging pile is closely connected with the charging adapter. I guess they just want to make sure that you have the charger, the Tesla charger, plugged all the way into the adapter. That's my assumption on that one. Sometimes these translations don't come over perfectly. But let's talk about the 48 amp limitation, because that's really, really important. So out in the wild, when you come across a Tesla destination charger, you're going to just see a charger on a post. There's not going to be a screen. There's not going to be anything on it whatsoever. It's just going to be a connector from a Tesla vehicle, and that's going to plug into your adapter in this case, or for Tesla owners, it would plug directly into their vehicle. Now, when you have a Tesla vehicle, that charger plugs directly into the car, and the onboard AC charger of the Tesla converts the power properly for it to charge the Tesla vehicle. Now, it doesn't have to go through an adapter. When you have to plug this adapter in between the charger and the vehicle, that means that this has to be able to accept whatever those two are also accepting. So now if this is 48 amps, you don't want to exceed the adapter because the charger might be 60 amps. Your car might be able to handle 60 amps, but this charger can only handle 48 amps. So you want to make sure that you can safely charge with this device before you go plugging it into your vehicle, because you don't want to overpower this, because then you might start shorting out components of this adapter. So the best and easiest way to verify the output of a charger is by using PlugShare. And if you go on to PlugShare, you can click on the charger that you're at, or maybe one that you're researching, a place that you're going to. And a lot of times Tesla owners will report the amperage that the output of the charger is. So this way you can at least know ahead of time whether or not it's safe. Now they'll tell you if it's a 40 amp, a 60 amp, an 80 amp charger. And the reason that that's important is because you don't want to be plugging into an 80 amp charger with this adapter, because you can potentially really fry this adapter if you do that. And I don't know if there's any safety protocols in place for these adapters to really just cut off if the amperage is too high. A lot of times there isn't, so you got to be careful with that. So do your research before you plug in. We're going to be testing this today with just a standard household mobile connector, 120 volts, and we'll be testing it using that. Other than that, this should be good up to 48 amps, which should be the bare minimum in my opinion nowadays for these adapters. Really, they should be all 60 amps or more. 48 amps would be the absolute minimum when it comes to these adapters. Now let's get to opening this box and looking at the product itself. So, box opens up and we have a small booklet here, basically just showing about the adapter, and once again, all the stuff we've gone over already, what it's compatible with, what it's not compatible with, the notes that are on the side of the box, pretty much just a copy of that. All right, so here is the product here. Pretty simple. They just put it inside of a styrofoam container there. So this is the ShockFlo Tesla, this side, to J1772, that side, adapter. So as you can see, this is a pretty good size, and I mean that in the sense of it's pretty small as far as an adapter goes. This is what's convenient about Tesla destination charging adapters, is because of the size that they can make. Now here's where I'm going to compare it to another one that I reviewed about a year ago. This is one of the Electron adapters that they offer. Now they do offer one of the small ones as well, but this is one of their standard ones that they've had out for a while. And as you can see, this is kind of bulky. It has the big J1772 side here, and then a little bit of a cable, and then the Tesla side here. And you can hold them up to each other and you can see just how much of a difference there is of the size between these two adapters here. So, I mean, it just goes to show you that, you know, if you don't want to take up a lot of space in your car, this is the package you want right here. I mean, this is really nice. Now, I'm not going to do a full comparison between these two in this video because this is really about the ShockFlo, but I will compare a couple feature differences between the ShockFlo adapter and the Electron that I just recently showed you. Let's talk about this real quick and then we'll go ahead and get this plugged into a vehicle. Now, it feels pretty good. It feels like it's got some weight to it, like it probably has some pretty decent circuitry in it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be taking it apart for this review, but it feels like it's pretty good. It doesn't feel too light, like it's missing a bunch of stuff inside, but I can't say for sure. It's all plastic. There's really no rubber components to this whatsoever, so it is a completely plastic thing. It has a really nice mechanism here that you can see. It's like along the whole top of the charging adapter there, where it toggles that lock point right there. So that's kind of nice. The J1772 side looks very nice. Looks like the pins are lined up very well. The Tesla side is the same thing. In fact, while we're here, let's just go ahead and test that. So this is just a standard Tesla adapter end that you would get for, you know, every vehicle, every Tesla vehicle. So this would just plug into this like this. So let's see how this goes. Well, that was easy. So it looks like there's a little switch on the bottom here. And this appears to be some sort of lock switch or unlock switch. So, so it does come out if you pull on it, but there is a lock button here that if you slide that down, that locks it in. Okay, so that's pretty good. So you could flip the switch to open, and this will allow you to pull it in and out of the charger, even though it is, I mean, it doesn't feel like it's gonna fall out even when it's not locked. And then you can always just flip this down to lock, and then that will fully lock in. Yeah, that's locked in there pretty good. So that's really nice. So it does give you the option to, you know, lock it in. Obviously, if the weather's a little rough, maybe if it's windy outside, I guess I could see this, you know, falling out depending on the angle that it's sticking out of your vehicle. So yeah, that's a nice little feature. Make sure you use that lock. That'll also stop some people from going up to it and just yanking on it or pulling it out or even bumping into it. I mean, I guess if you bump into it hard enough, you could probably, yeah, potentially come out of the adapter. We'll see how this side fits into the vehicle once we get down to the garage. And I do want to point out just a couple things, and we'll point these out again during the actual review process in the garage or when we plug it in. Now, the one thing I did like about the Electron adapter is that it actually gives you the ability to lock this to your vehicle. It actually has this little hole here that you can put a lock in, so you can prevent people from doing this, which lifts up the lock at the end. Knowing that that is an option to be able to lock this, so this way nobody can just walk up to your car and pull your adapter out and then just walk away with your adapter. Knowing that is actually kind of nice. The ShockFlo does not appear to have that functionality of a lockable way of getting this to lock to your vehicle. So I guess this is great for, you know, if you're in an area where you trust people enough to not steal your adapter. Let's say you own a Tesla level 2 charger in your garage and you just bought another EV, but it's not a Tesla. Like if you just want to use this for your own sake in your garage, yeah, it's perfectly fine for that. But if you're going to be in public and let's say you're leaving your car out there for, you know, all day or something like that, probably be a little bit more cautious about using the ShockFlo one just because it is not lockable, so it could potentially be pulled from your vehicle. So now that we've seen the adapter, now that we've looked at it and talked about it, let's get down to the garage, let's plug this in, let's see how it works, how it functions, and pretend as if we're just walking up to the vehicle that we just pulled into a spot, we're walking up to a charger and we just need to take the charger, plug it into the car, see how everything works, and we'll go from there. So I'll meet you down in the garage in just a minute. All right, everybody, well, welcome down to the garage here where we are sitting next to a 2017 Hyundai Ioniq EV. So now this is going to be our test vehicle for the ShockFlo Tesla to J1772 adapter. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to plug it into the vehicle, plug the Tesla adapter into this. Well, we're going to do the Tesla adapter first, and then we're going to plug this into the vehicle, see if it's charging, and then we're going to test to see how fast it's charging. I got to do that with an app with an OBD2 dongle. So let's go ahead and get this plugged in and see how this process works, and then we'll talk about some of the other things about this adapter. All right, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and take the Tesla charger here. We're going to plug it into the charging adapter like so, and now we're going to go ahead and just wait 30 seconds. We're going to do 30 seconds. We're going to wait, and we're going to plug this into the car and see how easily that works. All right, now that we've waited 30 seconds, let's go ahead and plug this into the vehicle. All right, that felt good going in. It had a good solid connection, and then the clip snapped down very easily. It didn't need more pressure for me to push in. I can now hear the charger clicking. All right, now we got the car plugged in and charging properly. I got the car scanner app open, and as you can see, we are looking at about a 0.9 kilowatts of energy going into the battery right now, which is normal for a 120 volt system. While we have this plugged in, let's look at what we can do with this product here. So now if I was a stranger walking up to the car, keep in mind that we're going to lock this too. So we're going to be a good user of the ShockFlo. We're going to lock the Tesla. Now, the one thing I will admit is it does stick out quite a bit. It is probably about 3 inches past the opening, the cap here of the car. So it is a bit past where, as the Electron one that we were showing before, even though it's a longer device, it kind of hangs closer to the vehicle. So depending on your situation, if you don't have that much room on this side of the vehicle when you're charging it, that might be a better solution for you. So let's go ahead and try this. Now, the thing about this car is that it locks the J1772 while charging. So if I were to pull down on this, we get nothing to release it because the car is locked the J1772 down to the vehicle. I do notice right away though that if I do push down on this, it does bend quite a bit. So hopefully that's not a break point later on where it will break on that hinge there. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but I guess if you're careful about it and you know better, then you're probably not gonna push too hard on that to release it from the vehicle. So right now it's locked to the vehicle, so it can't come out. I can't release it from here. But the thing is, if I'm a person walking up to this car and I say, I need to use this charger for my Tesla, I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this. I try to unplug it, it doesn't unplug. So I get a little aggressive with it, it doesn't unlock. I find the unlock button underneath of the thing. I say, oh, look at that. I now have the Tesla destination charger out of the vehicle, and now this ShockFlo can be pulled from the vehicle. So that's where a locking mechanism here would be really good, to hold this down to the vehicle so this cannot be pulled out. If you can find a way to lock this from being able to come up, so this doesn't move, then that would solve the issue of somebody stealing this. It'll never solve the issue of somebody taking the Tesla plug out, but at least you'll have, some idea of whether or not this will be still with your car if somebody happens to unplug the Tesla side. Let's do one more test, which I like to do is I'm gonna plug this in and then immediately plug it into the vehicle, and we'll just see if the car takes a charge. So let's go ahead and do that. Plugged in, plugged into the car. Oh, okay, there we go. Took a couple seconds. So the Tesla charger is clicking, make a connection, car is charging. There we go. So yeah, so the 30 seconds is really just a safety, I guess. I mean, I believe that's the way it should be done anyway. You shouldn't be just plug, plug, plug. But I always like to test it just to see if it's something that can be duplicated, if there is an issue with it. In this case, it didn't happen to cause any issues, but in the future, obviously, if you ever come across this issue, plug it into the adapter wait a little bit, then plug it into the vehicle. So let's just double check our car scanner app again. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. This one gives us a little better idea. So as you can see here, it's showing 0.91, 0.87. So basically 0.9, there's 0.94. So it's basically showing 0.9 kilowatts going into the battery right now. All right, everybody, well, there you go. There is the ShockFlo Tesla to J1772 charging adapter for any of your EVs. So this way you can charge your non-Tesla EV at a Tesla destination charger, a garage level 2, or even a level 1 mobile connector, regardless of where you are. I think it's a really good device to have in your car at all times. You never know when you may come across an opportunistic charger that you can just plug into and take advantage of, or you can always use these if you happen to have a level 2 charger in your garage already that's a Tesla charger, or hey, I mean, even if you happen to go to a friend's house who only has a level 2 Tesla charger, this will come in handy as well. So regardless of your use of this adapter, just make sure it's 48 amps or less. Keep this in your car at all times in case of an emergency or anything like that. And I think this will be a good product for you. And it's relatively cheap insurance for something like that. And actually, to kind of give you an idea, we just recently went to Virginia on a trip and happened to come across a Tesla destination charger at a park. And we pulled in, and unfortunately the J1772 charger had already been plugged into and being utilized, and the only thing left was 2 Tesla destination chargers. However, they were 48 amp chargers. And the issue we had is that we had the Electron adapter, which was 40 amp limitation. And so I couldn't use the Electron adapter because it was 8 amps shy of what this charger was outputting. Had I had the ShockFlo at the time, we would have been perfectly fine. So that extra 8 amps, a 48 amp limitation is much better to have than the 40 amp. But of course, once again, if you're going to plug into a 60 amp, 80 amp, whatever, make sure you use something a little bit more robust than this. Well, anyway, I hope this review helps you out. If it did, go ahead and hit the like button. If you're interested in buying this product, you can go ahead and click on the link in the description below, and that'll take you to a link of this product in the description of more information. I'd like to thank you very much for watching today's episode. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You could check us out on our website, techmotoring.com, on Facebook, facebook.com/techmotoring, on Twitter, @techmotoring. Thanks very much again for watching the review of the ShockFlo Tesla to J1772 adapter. And remember, welcome to the future and welcome to Tech Motoring. And we'll see you on the next episode.